Hello. Many times I have talked to people about their eternal destiny. I've found that approaching evangelism by asking people if they want to go to heaven is not the best way to do it. Obviously, people will generally agree that if heaven and hell do exist, they prefer heaven. A conversation might go like this: Do you want to go to heaven? Yes. Great. Pray this prayer. If you really mean it, you'll go to heaven. Hooray! That's the perfect way to create a false conversion. There is no understanding, just an assent to a hazy wish. When I ask a person whether they've really thought about heaven, about life after death, most admit that they haven't. Apparently because they have absolutely no idea what is going to happen after they die, and they're probably terrified. One prevailing notion is that nobody can really know. So wishful thinking reigns. This version of life after death is ruled by the mean, tricky God, who invented lots of religions so that no one could figure out which one was true. He also wrote a book that apparently no one can translate correctly. Other people who have not given much thought to life after death are not terrified and say, yes, I'm going to heaven. They usually worship the mush god, who is so nicey nice that he lets everyone in except Hitler, and eventually he'll have to turn away Charles Manson. He is secretly not a nice god because he overlooks lots of bad stuff that happened here, but we don't talk about that since he does stuff that we can't understand, and who are we to question him? When talking to people about heaven, they can often be difficult to pin down. They might switch the subject from yes, no to I hope so, or I think I will. Then there's the humble little smile that says, please, 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 God, let me in. I'm nice, aren't I? I remember this conversation with my very nice cousin. I shared the gospel with her, and then I told her that even when she was nice, she had thoughts like, gee, wasn't that nice of me? Prideful thoughts. To which she exclaimed, yeah, I do that. And then she believed the gospel I had just shared with her and was saved that day. One key to helping people decide if they are going to believe the gospel or not is getting them to think about it in the first place. They're not even sure what to wonder about. A Christian can do a lot to get a person thinking about their eternal destiny. A few questions will do just to get the conversation started. Please, get the conversation started. If you're afraid that they will ask you a lot of questions that you can't answer, don't worry about it. Bring a notebook, write down the questions to look up later while they're thinking about yours. Of course, I'm an old hand at it now. I like to start by asking them how they're going to get to heaven. Are they going to take a spaceship? Seriously, though, do you know where heaven is? How are you going to get into a place if you don't know where it is? You think it's above you, but if it is, then for those in the southern hemisphere, it's not above them. Godless men of science say the universe has no edges. No edges. Why do they say stuff like that? It's beyond comprehension, but it sounds good. No edges makes a much bigger problem for finding heaven. We could go for the God lives in a different dimension thing, but then we're really in trouble because we haven't invented science for that yet. So we'll probably have to take a spaceship to heaven and hope there's some way to figure out where it is. Maybe the angels will pitch in at this point, show us the way. Plus, you're dead. So that makes the spaceship thing really tough. So now we're back to hoping that the angels will come and get us or something. This much detail isn't necessary when sharing the gospel, but you get the idea that nobody can get into heaven on their own. They don't know where it is and they have no mechanism for getting there. The point is to help someone realize they literally and truly cannot get to a place that they all seem to think they're going. They can't even conceive of how to actually get in. And it's kind of a fun way to get into a heavy topic. You can share a little giggle when you ask them if they're going to take a spaceship to heaven. So that brings us to the crux of the matter. Only God can get us into heaven. He would have to reveal both the requirements for entrance and be the one to transport us there. Get it? Now pray for, believe in, and earnestly look for a chance to ask someone who will go to the lake of fire if you don't.